गणेशाय नमस्तुभ्यं हेरम्बाय एकदन्तिने स्वानन्दवासिने तुभ्यं ब्रह्मणस्पतये नमः. So we were discussing about Chavana Rishi, who had who was born. Now he has become big. He learned under his own father Bhrigumuni, and he was meditating. He had achieved great success in his meditation penance, and he was in the forest when he was meditating very deeply. An ant hill had grown around him, and the king of that area, when he came hunting in the forest, the children, his daughter and all her friends had also come along with him for a picnic, and that daughter, Saryati, Shariati, she happened to see the sand hill and saw something shiny, and so she poked it with a thorn. And it happened to be the eyes of Shavana Rishi, and the blood started flowing. And finally, she got the punishment of serving the Rishi for the rest of her life. So the king gave her in marriage to this Rishi, and Rishi was going about his own tapasya, and she was serving him happily. Of course, she accepted the punishment for her misdeed, and she continued serving him. Once the four Sanat Kumaras, the doctors of the physicians of the Devas, happened to come that side. They mm, they met this Rishi, and the rishis requested that his blindness, the eyes which had become blind, to be set right. So the Sanat Kumaras agreed in compensation for transferring some of his sacrificial offerings to them. That is, making some sacrificial offerings for along with other devas. So the Rishi accepted, and when Sanat Kumaras took him to the river for a bath, and then when he came out, he was young like one of them. And his eyes were also restored, and the Rishi also made his offerings. Both of the Sanat Kumaras thanked the Rishi and left. Now, this Rishi had become very young and healthy, and was his blindness was he was able to see, and Shariati was very happy. And once her father happened to come that side to visit the Rishi, seeing the change, seeing the transformation, he was flabbergasted. He was happy beyond measure, and he invited them for a yajna in his kingdom. At this yajna, all had come. Devas, Rishis, Munis, Gandharvas, all had come, irrespective of caste. So there was in those days we had the word caste has come only in the English dictionary. In the Indian scriptures, there is no concept of caste. It is varnashrama. We'll discuss on the varnashramas later on as we after completing the story part of it. So this Rishi, the Chavana was invited to the kingdom for conducting the yajna, and Chavana Rishi, along with his wives, along with his wife, he went to the for the performing the yajna. He was a chief priest. So he also invited the Ashwini Kumaras. Naturally, the Ashwini Kumaras had cured him of his blindness, made him young. So he felt, out of a sense of friendship, he called them. Now, when he called these Ashwini Kumaras, Indra objected. Indra said, these Ashwini Kumaras are doctors or physicians to the Devas. They are not supposed to participate in yajnas and all. So Indra was furious, and he even took out his vajra to hit them. So when he went to hit Chavana, of course, objected, but that's not possible. They will be there. They are my invitees. They are my guests. They will be there at the yajna. But yeah, Indra was furious. He went. He took out his vajra. Was threateningly advanced towards the Ashwini Kumaras. This Rishi Chavana, out of his penance, the power of penance, he just held the hand of halted Indra in his place. That is, we used to play one game. What is that called? Statue. No? Statue we used to play. Statue bola to jaise ruk jayega. Like that. this fellow Chavana halted Indra in his act, and he was just standing like a statue there. And then later, this was he was not able to do anything. But because of that anger of Chavana Rishi, an asura got created from the anger, and that was the Madasura, the pride. Mad, pride, and Asura, an embodiment of pride. He was short, he was dark, he was tall, he was dark, and he had a terrifying face. He was licking the sky. Means that's what it is described here. His body was so dark that he looked like a mountain of coal. Now he came, he stood near the yajna. Seeing this Asura, all Munis and Devas were frightened. They all abandoned the yajna and left. Now, Madasura then, what he did, he turned towards this Indra to eat him up. Naturally, this is an Asura, so he's just waiting to gobble something up. Indra said, Indra was now frightened of this Asura. He told Chavana, please stop this Asura from eating me. I will allow the Ashwini Kumaras to participate in the yajna. Please protect me from this Madasura, otherwise he will eat me up. So now Bhrigu Muni, who was his father, Chavana's father, he was also present at the yajna. He said, with his power of penance, Bhrigu Muni, he restrained this Madasura. Chavana with his power of penance, restrained this Madasura. He told him to calm down. And so immediately this Madasura reduced himself in size and he sat down quietly. Now, so yajna was concluded. Then Chavana Muni left left along with his wife for his father's house. Bhrigu also honored his son, and Chavana was living along with his wife. One day, along with his father and his wife also. One day, Bhrigu Muni, he called his son and he wanted to sort of counsel him on how this Madasura had come up because of his anger. So he wanted to counsel him on that act, that you should not get so angry that an asura comes into manifestation, because as particularly when you are yogis and when you have attained siddhis, when you have done without, because of your austerities, power of penance, you must be restrained in your words, actions, and emotions, because even the slightest of excess will result in such untoward incidents, or it will result in such unexpected things. So like sometimes a person, the Rishi Munis, when they get angry, suddenly fire comes up, fire gets created. And so these kind of fires, it's possible because the nature will respond to the anger and all these things. So Bhrigu Muni decided, let me counsel his own son. So he told him, see, this yajna that you have performed, it's very fine. It's true. It's good that because of your powers, but then because of those powers, this Madasura got created. You should not become so intoxicated in your pride of your powers, of your siddhis, that it results in the creation of such power, such asuras. Now, how to do? So he's telling, I'll tell you one story. What had happened to me when I was when I became proud. So naturally, most of these rishis, munis, when they narrate, when they are trying to teach somebody, they will give an example out of their own experience, because it is only through experience that we learn. We get education or we learn certain basic things. Veda Shastras all are learned for a benchmark, for a certain basic knowledge. Then it's only through application of that knowledge, through application in your daily life, that you gain experience, and out of that experience, the learning happens. Till then, it is only information or data gathering, data center, warehouse, data warehouse. So you can say it's only a warehouse of collection of information. It is only through application of that knowledge in real life instances, real life situations, that you will imbibe it as learning, and then it becomes a part of you energetically. So I think I had given you this instance of when how the Rishi Munis, the yogis, even today, they may be in the Himalayas, wherever they are meditating in the caves for years together. Some of them are more than 100 years old. But that, whether that level of um, siddhis they have developed or not, they test it during the Kumbh Mela. They come to the Kumbh Mela and all of them just gather around it during that Kumbh Mela to test. That is the examination of their siddhis, how much they can bear that heat, cold. Some of them are coming naked, and whether they are able to bear all that. People are looking at them. Whether that shame, that whether that sankoch, all that is gone. Means how much they are detached, how much they are viraha. All those qualities will be tested at that time. Their honesty, they will be their hunger, thirst, they'll be required to walk long distances, stand for a long time in queues. So all these things will be tested. There may be floods, there may be storms. So Bhrigu Muni tells you, I'll tell you one story from my own life when I was also carried away by my siddhis. One day, because Bhrigu Muni had attained great levels. He had become a Ganapatya. He was considered as a Yogindra. So all devas respected him. So they decided, let us test of this. Now there was Shiva, Vishnu, Surya, Brahma, all these tutelary gods given certain administrative positions, the Pancha Devas. So let us test who is the greatest. So they said, Bhrigu Muni, you are an Yogindra. You have achieved great levels. You will be the best judge to know who is the best among them. Go and test their strengths. So first, this Bhrigu Muni went to his own father, his Brahma, Pitamaha Brahma, means he was grandfather. He went to Brahma and Brahma welcomed him. He received them. But this Bhrigu Muni, he just went and just sat there. He didn't prostrate or he didn't do namaskar, nothing, no respect. Nothing. He didn't do pay the appropriate respect, bowing down or doing sastang namaskar, nothing of the sort. Pitamaha Brahma got angry. He said, you, oh ignorant one, you have reached so much of stage, you don't know your basic etiquette, you don't know the basic protocol. Go back home. Immediately return home. So then he was furious. So now, then this Bhrigu Muni, what he said, why are you getting angry? You, while accepting your own daughter in marriage, did you not demonstrate your ignorance? The story goes that Brahma was fascinated by his daughter Saraswati. Saraswati is Brahma's daughter. He was fascinated by her beauty, her learning, because she came um, out of his face. So and she was so beautiful, and so he could not stop looking at her. He was so fascinated. That is why those four faces grew out of his head, because of whichever direction she was in, he used to want to look at her, not to miss a single vision of sight of her, not to lose sight of her. And so that is why that is this is another story on in a story relating to that incident. He even grew a head on the fifth head also he grew to look at her when she goes up, so the so that is why that Rudra got angry and cut it off. That is one story of about and the other story is, of course, that he abused the Vedas. The fourth, the fifth head, with the fifth head, he used to abuse. Now, Saraswati, when she first manifested, she manifested as Vak Devi, means the words, the goddess of Shabda Brahma, as a form of Shabda Brahma, no? So that same Shabda, he abused her by the fifth head. So that is why Rudra had chopped off that fifth head. Vak Devi, that is Vedas is Shabda Brahma. So Vedas, Vakyam is considered the words of Brahma. So when Brahma abused with that fifth head, Rudra had chopped off. That's another story. Now, when he was so fascinated by his daughter, that and finally she was not impressed. I mean, she was going on hiding somewhere all the time to escape from him. So when she, in that process, she delayed. Muhurtam got delayed, and finally Brahma got married to Gayatri. Gayatri or Savitri. Savitri was the Gayatri was the elder first wife. Then he married Savitri. So Savitri is also another wife of Brahma. So this way, that Surya gave Savitri in marriage to Brahma. Uh, this Bhrigu points out that flaw. Out of ignorance, you were also Ravi. So what great you are talking ignorance to me about ignorance to me. This made Brahma all the more furious. So Brahma was speechless. He just glared at him. So when then this Bhrugumuni got frightened now. He said, sorry, I was just trying to test you. Don't get angry. All these gods, they sent me to test who is greatest amongst you. So I didn't mean to hurt you. I was just coming to test the greatness of the Trimurtis. So please forgive me. And he ran away from there. Then he goes to Kailash. He goes to Kailash to test Shiva. Shiva was there. He welcomed him. Shiva. But this Bhrigu Muni, with the intention of testing him, said, "Oh Shambhu," he tells Shambhu, "you are the chief of Pishachas, ghosts, goblins, and you are so filthy. You wear animal skin, roam around in the smashan, in the crematorium grounds. You are so inauspicious. You are wearing a garland of human skulls. But you have the name Shiva, auspiciousness. It is so inappropriate. You are totally inauspicious." So when Shiva heard this, he became furious. When Shiva gets furious, means his third eye will open. So fearing that his third eye will open, this Brahmani Sashtang Namaskar. He did, so sorry, don't get angry so much. I was just trying to test you. I didn't mean any harm. So that way he escaped from there also. You're really very great. He told, and he went away from there. Then he went to Vaikunt. Bhrigu went to Vaikunt. Then there the Shiva status allowed him to go to Vaikunt. Vaikunt he came and wanted to test Vishnu. So here when Vishnu and Lakshmi were sitting there in Vaikunt, Vishnu got up and he came forward to do namaskar to Bhrigu. Means he was so humble. So he came to do actually in welcoming him, receiving him. He was going to do namaskar to touch his feet. Bhrigumuni said, no, don't touch me. You have assumed the form of a woman in order to entice the gods and the Rakshasas during the manthan. So you are impure. How you are not allowed to touch my feet? And what he did, he kicked with that feet only in his chest, Vishnu's chest. So that is how in Vishnu's chest on the right side there is a mark. But in Vishnu Puran, in some other Puran, in other place, they say that is the mark of Lakshmi. Vishnu holds Lakshmi in his heart, and that is on the right side, a little bit on the right side. Even if you go to Tirupati, they keep a emerald or some kind of a jewelry jewel gem on the right side, indicating Lakshmi, position of Lakshmi. But that is a place where Bhrigumuni kicked Vishnu in the chest when this had come. Now see, these all Puranas are of various yugas. So in which yuga what had happened? So this being one of the earlier Puranas, earlier to the other Puranas, it will have some stories prior to what comes in Vishnu Purana, Garuda Purana, or Vayu Purana, Agni Purana, and all of that. So this is so yeah. So when but even though he was kicked in his chest, Vishnu said humbly that I will. He did not get angry. He said he still bowed down to him, and he accepted whatever this and since he knew why he had come, he says it is I feel blessed that in order to test the gods, some rishi can come and kick you. So miss, see his approach to this same incident. So in this way, then Bhrigumuni realized that of all the gods, Vishnu is the greatest, because instead of getting angry or annoyed, he received it, he accepted, and in fact, that emblem, that mark is still there. The story may have changed according to the situation or times, according to the narration. Like Shruti Smriti Purana, in that Shruti Smriti, through Guru Shishya Parampara, it has reached us. Lakshmi it is Lakshmi. But if someone could receive a kick of this and make it as a mark, as an emblem on the chest, it means Vishnu is truly great. And so, in concluding in this manner, this Bhrigumuni comes back and he tells all the other gods that, see, this is in fact Vishnu is the greatest of all the Trimurtis. So this is how. So he says in conclusion, a forgiving mind is what distinguishes your greatness from the rest. So that is the way you will reach Brahma. You will reach the highest level. So at this place, he tells another one story, but that story we will continue in tomorrow's session. But here, when we tell about the greatness, now here, why Vishnu himself, he says, the Bhrigumuni says, a forgiving mind can ascend sequentially to attain Brahma. As a consequence, I became an ardent devotee of Vishnu. So here we halt, and we'll continue with the next session. So I said I wanted to discuss on Varnashrama. The big discussion is going on these days on, like the other day, I told you already how the Brahmin was, the term Brahmin was insulted by the West. But here, let us get clear about this concept of caste system. What is this caste system and what it is according to the Shastras and according to how we have come to believe it, right? Any comments? Want to say something, Shri Hari? Okay. No comment. No comment is consent. So now Brahma, as I told you, in our scriptures there is a mention only of Varnashrama. It is not mentioned as caste system. Caste system is the word given by the English language conversion. There is no caste word. So Varnashrama. What is Varnashrama? According to the Varnashrama Dharma, or Dharma is way of life. Okay, Dharma is not religion or anything. It is a way of life where you have duties to perform, you have rights to, you have a responsibility to adhere to the rights while engaging in your rights also. So in this process of practicing your dharma, there is a varnashrama. Varnashrama means according to what your constitution is. Varnashrama. There are Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras. These four Varnashramas were there. Brahmins were the teachers who used to learn Vedas, Shastras, teach it to the students, and then they did not grow. Most of them, they were dependent on the offering or the dakshina of the students, or on the benevolence of the king who gave them food, grains, maintenance. So, of course, some of them had in their own ashram the cows and all, from where they got milk. And for the yajnas, they made ghee out of that. For offering the yajnas, the students went and collected sticks from the forest for offering in the yajnas. So these were all the way they lived. Then Kshatriyas were those who were warriors, means they were people who had the knowledge of fighting, and they are physically strong, and they were the warrior class. So that was their nature of work. And generally, the kings and the princes, they followed in succession accordingly they were trained in battles, going and everything. So that was the second varnashrama. Third was the Vaishyas, or the trader class, or the community who were engaged in all kinds of business activities. They would exchange goods for goods, whether it was textiles, whether it was grains, whether it was oil, there was whatever kind of business, that was the Vaishya class. And then was the Shudra class, Shudra Varnashrama. Shudra Varnashrama is based on the menial labor of um, cleaning or serving the people, serving the others. Now, how did this Varnash? There was no way of preventing anybody, there was no system of preventing anybody from learning the Vedas. Let us be very clear. Everybody could go and learn the Vedas, anybody, but then it depended on your capacity to absorb. We all come with different mental capacities. That is the only differentiating factor in our human beings. Now, every human being, as we have seen in the beginning itself of creation, there are three gunas: sattva guna, rajo guna, and tamo guna. We all come with a permutation and combinations of these three gunas. So when wherever, in whichever human being the sattva guna is predominant, his mental capacity is more. He will be able to absorb because of the purity. Now here, purity is in terms of the intellectual absorption capacity. Now, a person who has Rajoguna more, he is more action oriented. That is, the organs of action in his body are more stronger, like the hands, legs, your physical system, digestive system, and excretory system. All those systems are stronger compared to the sattva, the mind, mental chaitanya. That what is the sattvic guna in a person? That is the Chaitanya. Chaitanya is mind, consciousness, matter. That mind, consciousness, matter is not only the physical cells. It is us. It is also the subtlety of your mind, of Chaitanya, that will enable you to absorb, retain the memory, retain whatever is read. So a person who is more physically strong, his mental abilities will be relatively less. You go and see a boxer, a wrestler. His his mind will be sharp only to the extent of that wrestling. Tell him to sit and read a book. He won't be able to sit quietly for even 2 minutes. So that is a difference between the sattva guna, rajo guna, and tamo guna is lethargy, inertia, or where there is no intention to work, means there is no tendency to work. So when such a person, still he, agar पेट भरना है तो कुछ तो काम करना है. So that kind of work is allotted to them because that will be suitable to their temperament. So that is how these varnashramas had come, depending upon the combination of sattva guna, rajo guna, and tamo guna in us. And that comes with karma. The more of certain action you do, that kind of energetically you develop those gunas. Just like an athlete, if he is going on training for running, he will be excellent at that. He'll become an excellent at that. And running is an activity, a right-sided activity. That is an action. So when it is a right-sided activity, Rajoguna is more. Sattva guna is in the center. Tamo guna is left. Rajo guna is on the right. Left side, left parasympathetic nervous system is an indicator or a reflection of tamo guna. And the right parasympathetic nervous system is a reflection or an indicator of the percentage of your rajoguna, the action oriented. This is your emotion oriented or your desire oriented. That is tamoguna. Tama means tamasic in nature. You are ignorant. So when ignorant, we saw the five types of mental variations: Kshipta, Vikshipta, Moda, Ekagra, and this. So in that Kshipta, what? You just go and get attracted to all things. That is, your desires are more. So it is more of emotion. Then you develop into Vikshipta, that is, you get attracted more, addicted to some kind of things that way. So left side is the where Tamoguna is more, right side is where Rajoguna is more, Sattva is in the central, that is in the central nervous system, which is going from Muladhara right up to Sahasrara, where you are in the balance, your energies are balanced. So when Sattva is there, that is where you are sattvic qualities. Sattvic qualities where you are integrated personality, physical, emotional, spiritual, everything. So then you have the higher varnashrama dharma of Brahmana, where you are equipped, you are eligible. I mean, you have the skills necessary to walk on the path of Brahma, leading to discovery of Brahma, leading a seeker, a spiritual seeker. So that is how this classification or this Varnashrama Dharma had come into existence. And then it got diluted, disintegrated, and distracted to all the present conditions what we are in, with each one forming groups according to your own, like a cobbler, a wood furniture wala, mochi, and means everything. Each small functionally. You have a title, you have a surname, and you have a community, and then which was given the name caste. And then that caste became your identification, and now that becomes a lineage, and then that becomes your kind of which was exploited by the political or by the rulers for disintegration of the community, so that there is no unity, because in unity only there is power. So in order to exercise their power of the collective, they disintegrated based on this kind of functional communities, which came to be known as castes in English, to the extent that now we are going for a caste census. In fact, in those early days, how was a person known? Anybody, even Duryodhana has learned the Veda Shastras, okay? Duryodhana, even Ravana was a scholar, Vedic scholar. So there was no differentiation of caste, creed, or any of the Varna. Even in Varnashrama Dharma, there was no differentiation or, offering. They could go and learn. The ashrams were open for all. It was your capacity how to receive it according to your DNA, according to your constitution, according to your composition of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamoguna. Then accordingly, what now also we choose, no? The very distinction मिला तो साइंस में जाते हैं, एक बीच में मिला तो हम we are 70 or 60-70 go to commerce, and then if you get only pass class or 40-45% go to arts. Why? Did somebody tell that you are Brahmin, so go to science, you are a Kshatriya, so go to commerce, you are you are a Vaishya, so go to commerce, or no, it was natural inclination because of your constitution, your own tendency, and that tendency is developed over lifetimes. This Varnashrama was not made in this century. It was the caste was made in this century. Varnashrama was existing ever, and that is the Indian culture. There is no Hinduism attached to it. Even among Muslims, there are people who are Rajasic, who are Tamasic, who are Sattvic in nature. Those who are Sufi saints were Sattvic in nature. They could make poetry just at the drop of a hat. I mean, just the words, they open their mouth and they could say the and highest of philosophies. Rajasic, there are even in the Muslim or any community for that matter, there are people who are engaged in business, whatever according to their skills, making carpets or making saris or making bangles or whatever it is. The occupation is a matter of choice depending upon the raw materials available in that area. According to the natural raw materials are available around them, they will take the vyavasai. So that is why we are Vaishya community. It is not that Vaishyas are not prevented. Vaishyas can also have the Yagna Pavitam. They can wear the thread ceremony, go to the thread ceremony if they have the capacity, if they have developed sattvic qualities. So do penance, do tapas, do whatever is necessary to purify your action oriented and make it sattvic, sublime. Your energy should become sublime. There is a difference between different kinds of oil. A petrol, kerosene, then you take groundnut oil, castor oil, coconut oil, all are oils. But the nature of those oils are different. Ghee is also a type of oil. If you make it liquid, and that ghee, like you will have that this one drop will, means when you see the drop, it will be like a thin line, like a silver lining when you drop it into this. So that much fine-tuned means the kind of quality, how fine-tuned your antakaran, your subtle body is. That is what is the caste, or that is, forget the word caste. That caste itself gives a different connotation to the mind. It is your nature, your dharma. So now scientifically they say your DNA. It is in your DNA. Yes, it is in your DNA. That quality is in your DNA, the sattvic quality, the rajasic quality, the tamasic quality, and the combination of that. The combination is different. There is, imagine that, it is an infinite factorial. There is no limit to that. As much millions of people are there, that many combinations are there. Each one is unique. So, there is only a caste or a group or a community based on their activity. And then you get a surname, you develop a certain, means when you live in that community, you have your own rules and regulations to manage, to how to give and take, or your approach towards each other, your conduct, behavior, you frame, and then it sticks when it is followed over a period of time. A habit dies hard. H removed, a bit remains. A removed, bit remains. B removed, it remains. So that is how it came to be called the present day caste system of, imagine, I have a whole report of the caste census, which was conducted the latest caste census. It's not the one which was done in this, whenever it was done, that old one. So then according to the area, it includes the bigger India, including the north and everything before the undivided, all of that. So how was the caste spread in the whole country? That is a time when this word caste came into the picture. And this British and all made use of that, this to divide us, to keep us divided so that they can rule better by creating a sense of enmity, a sense of competition, jealousy over another, playing one over the other, and all this divide and rule policy. For that, the caste system was created. It was not there in the, according to the principles of Varnashrama Dharma. Our Varnashrama Dharma was very scientific, based on your own entire system, body, human body, anatomy. Not only the physical anatomy. Yes, physical anatomy is a reflection of your mental anatomy, mental structure, or your energetic structure. Because if your energy is so fine-tuned, like I said the other day, I had vomited for 15 days when I ate eggs. When I started eating eggs, because my system was not accepting. When your system is sattvic, when your system is sattvic, egg is a rajasic active, because it contains proteins and those kind of minerals which is required for performance of actions, energetic action, physically energetic actions. So when that is required, it is more of rajasic quality. So then when you try to impose rajasic, it will reject, your body will reject. So, according to the basis of the composition. And another thing I want to say was, this was very well clearly defined. If you read my Ganesh Gita book, it is very Ganesh Gita or my Mutkal Puran, it's very clearly mentioned that in those days, during Brahmacharya, when Varnashram, when people were in the ancient Hindu, when ashrams were there, Gurukuls, you were asking about whether we should have Gurukuls. Gurukuls, the students were sent, even Rama, Mahabharata also, all the Pandavas, Kauravas went to Gurukul only. So when they went to the Gurukul, they had to beg to eat. Means they were brahmachari, as a brahmachari, they had to beg, go to the village, ask for food. So there was a system in recognizing what you are, what you are. For example, if for example, who was that? Ashwatthama, and what is his father's name? Dronacharya, no? Not Dronacharya. The Acharya's children and also the Pandavas, Kauravas were also studying together. So when an Acharya's son goes for begging, so he will say, Bhavatu Vikshan Dehi, while begging. He will say, Bhavatu Vikshan Dehi. Whereas a Kshatriya, when he says, Bhiksham Bhavatu Dehi, he will say, so the person, the household, the the person who is giving the food or offering whatever, giving atta or the grains or whatever they are giving, they will give accordingly. When you, for a sattvic person will say, or a Brahmin you can say, will say, Bhavatu Vikshan Dehi, which means that in his thali, in his plate, rice is more, then is wheat, then your other substance, the vegetable and all. For a Kshatriya, wheat is more, rice is less, and then you have the vegetable. Vegetables is common for all. Okay, so Bhiksham Bhavatu Dehi, when you Bhavatu Bhiksham Dehi, when you say, that means you're announcing that I am a Brahmin, I need rice more. Because I am a Brahmin, I am sattvic in nature. For me, that wheat will not digest, so I need rice more to digest. So accordingly, that woman, that the housewife will give more rice, and other things. Then, when the Kshatriya goes to beg, he will to Bhiksha, to ask for Bhiksha, he will say, Bhiksham Bhavatu Dehi. Then accordingly, they will be given more of that kind of a Rajasic food. Rajasic, the housewife will know that this person is a Kshatriya, so he requires more Rajasic food, and accordingly she may give chilies, she may give something which is which will excite action, which will help in action oriented. So they in that thali, chapati you eat first, rice you eat afterwards. And then tamasic, you give anything. You may give meat, fish, anything, even stale food there is given. There are, in some communities, there are who eat dog flesh. They also come to beg. So the previous day's food is given to them. And they prefer that. So instead of wasting food, that food was given to them. Otherwise, it would be thrown. If it is thrown, the dogs would eat, and the dogs they would kill, and these people would eat the dogs. So according to your constitution, according to what you eat, which makes up your blood, your DNA, your own semen, that is what determines what kind of nature you are, what is the varnashrama dharma you belong to. That can be seen irrespective of what you are, where you are. So the present day caste system is a big hoax, big farce, which we have diluted and diluted and diluted to the present system, and we are fighting over it, and everything is centered around it, creating chaos and confusion. So this was what I wanted to share from the Shastras, from what our scriptures, Vedas are very clear about this. Let us not go degrade it by giving the word Hinduism and casteism or Hinduism, all kinds of negative attributes. It was a scientific way of approaching your life in general. So so that you can perform best. When you get appropriate food to eat, you will be able to perform your actions best. That is why Rama and Lakshmana, when they went to the same ashrama, they were asked to fight wars. They were taught archery, they were taught all yuddha ritis, the science of warfare. They were taught the other things also. Everything, just like in school, when we go, we are taught all subjects. But according to your dharma, according to your varnashrama, according to your constitution, you will be taught specialities, specialization in something. So that is a specialization. So let us be very clear in our heads and not get confused and carried away by these kind of politicization of the caste system. Any questions?
A different face of caste system.
This is a real face. I'm telling you, as it is written in the scriptures, because when I translate,
No, but
I have to understand, because it's in Sanskrit. I have
but
to
how
understand,
it
convert
came,
it, understand it.
we did not know. How it came
Yes,
into
it has
existence.
been forgotten. It has been lost, and we are making, because this kind of understanding is to our advantage, to keep the differentiation, inequalities, up higher caste, lower caste, or इसमें मजा आता है, and to exploit one over the other. They say you are the lower caste, you're not allowed to do this, you can't do this, and so there is a power over a power exerted, and now when the power, the meaning of power has shifted from spiritual power to wealth, money, पावर का कंसेप्ट ही चला गया है ना. राहुल गांधी says I don't want to become the, because राहुल का राजा का कंसेप्ट ही पसंद नहीं है मेरे को. So just like that, so if the concept itself has undergone the definition has undergone a change, so then naturally all the consequences will be all different.
थोड़ा दिमाग में
सेटल होना है ना, तो चलो मेडिटेट करेंगे. उतारेंगे उसको अंदर. हाँ, ये जो मेंटली ये सब घूम रहा है ना दिमाग में,
थोड़ा शेक हो गया.
let us all gather it together, put it into our system, central nervous system में. Keep your spine erect. Feet firmly planted on the floor. Eyes closed. Bring all your attention to your breathing. We all want to evolve into higher beings. On what basis or ground, or what will be your tools to evolve? Whether the tools will be physical, mental, energetic, spiritual. What are the tools that you're going? You have a physical body, you have a mind, you have a soul, you have your Chaitanya, or you have your energy body, Prana Shakti, pervading your whole body. These are classified as Annamaya Kosha, Jnanamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha, where Annamaya Kosha is your food sheath or your physical body. What food you eat becomes your physical body. Then Manomaya Kosha is your mental body. The finer elements of the food you eat becomes your mind. So the quality of food that you eat, we often go to choose a basmati rice over some other kind of a rice. So even there are difference in the textures or the quality of food that we eat. Why do saints eat fruits or nuts or fruits? The mineral content is more conducive for development of mind consciousness matter. The cells that are necessary for the mind. Otherwise, fat is there all over the body. Then you have a Vijnanamaya Kosha, that is your intellectual sheath. Intellect is how much mental usage you make in studying, or how much time you spend in using your mind and absorbing what you study, so that becomes your knowledge memory or your intellect, your memory bank. Then your Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Annamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Jnanamaya, intellectual state. Vijnanamaya is your, or Pranama, Vijnana and Prana, that is in your subtle, that is your energetically. When your experience or that knowledge becomes energetically stored in your body, that is your Vijnanamaya Kosha. Just like how in your chips, in your chips in the computer, all the programs get stored in that small silicon or that silver, this semiconductors or whatever it's called, is just stuck into the spiral, small tiny spirals that are fixed onto the chip, onto the plate. So there it is stored. That is energetically it is stored there. The moment an energy is infused into the electric current is infused, automatically that knowledge comes into life. That program gets activated. And then there are programs which are in the booting sector. That is, for the start of the computer, you need that kind of knowledge. That is your Kundalini energy for booting. Once it is booted, it is spread all over the computer, and then it can, any action, any function can be performed. So those are finer energetic memory, which is carried from generations, which you carry from lifetimes. Otherwise, you have random access memory, read-only memory, all other memories, which is there in the brain. You have your physical body also has a knowledge, as a memory, muscle memory, you call it. Then you have your soul. Anandamaya Kosha, which is a bliss sheath. It is Shanti. It is embodiment of peace, quietness. Peace is bliss. There's nothing. If you think of bliss as joy or happiness, then there is also its opposite, sorrow or sadness. But in bliss, there is only one bliss. There is no opposite of that. That is the quality of the soul or the spirit. Atma. And the kind of food you eat will stimulate that organs in your body that will induce you or will develop a tendency, the vasana. Vasanas are tendencies, and those tendencies develop your character, your ability, your functioning, and all that defines your dharma, your ashram, or your what is your occupation, or how you spend your life. When you spend your life in the thought or studying or in approach of evolving into a higher self, into your higher self, then that is a sattvic quality. That is what Brahma is, walking on the path of the divine. Brahma means not only that person with the four heads or something like that. It is your higher nature, walking on the path of achieving your higher nature. That is a Brahman. And for that, mantras, those shabda, the sound has power. It has vibrations. So accordingly, we develop our qualities. So we need to see what inputs we put into this body, both what we eat, what we see, what we hear, what we absorb from all kinds of media, and then develop our sensitivity, our vibrational sensitivity, so that we can even keep away the negative vibrations far away from us. Think on this, and we'll conclude today's meditation. Wriggle your fingers and your toes, rub your hands together, cup your palms, place it on the eyes, gently rub your face, and open your eyes.